Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you as usual, folks. Remember what I'm going to tell you right up front. If you are just joining us, please remember to go ahead and share this program on your page. Share this program on your Twitter. Share this program on your Tumblr. Share this program on your everywhere on social media and elsewhere. Why? Because that is how we get the progressive message out. Because as you know, right now what happens is the mainstream media, they owe their allegiance to elsewhere. And as such, unless we make that effort, unless we do what's necessary to get our message out, it never, ever, ever gets out. So I'm asking you folks to go ahead and remember to go ahead and share this program right away, and that's how we are going to make progress. You know, today's program is going to cover Brett Kavanaugh as well, but in a different context. It's going to cover it sort of in the context of how do we move forward from here? What is it? What kind of effects will this have on the election? Because I tell you, I sort of got torn up at Daily Kos because they said I was pretty much insensitive because of the antiseptic manner. I mean, they didn't quite say it that way, but they meant because of the antiseptic manner in which I was covering the issue. And the reason I did it that way is, folks, we have 29 days. 29 days before the midterms. This is one of the most critical, one of the most crucial midterms that we will have in one's lifetime. So it is incumbent on us, right? It is incumbent on us to make sure that we don't screw anything up. If you're just joining us, please go ahead, folks, and share this program. It is imperative that we do so to ensure that the progressive message, which is being neutered not only on Fox News or anywhere, but even on supposedly the channels that are supposed to be liberal. So please share this on your Tumblr. Please share this on your Twitter. Please share this everywhere. That is how we make progress. So what is the program going to be about today? Title of the program today is as follows. Let me get to the title. This is how we secure the Kavanaugh loss the Kavanaugh loss does not hurt midterm 2018. You know, the Republicans have been jumping up and down. Oh, we've been trying to reinvigorate our base, but we couldn't do it. And the Democrats did it for us because they hired all those people to protest. Those Democrats hired all those people to protest against Senor Kavanaugh. You know, what I find most amazing is how many people on the right buy up the indoctrination that goes out there, buys up all that stuff that people tells them. I find it completely ironic, but more than ironic, more than crazy, more than, my God, did you really, or do you really believe that? Do you really? I find it disconcerting for another reason, and that is I would expect that by now, Americans, all of us, as a very, very well-established democracy, as a mature democracy, would be more apt, would be more educated, would not fall for so much of the indoctrination, but it's not there. So, I mean, there's something that people who study psychology know that I don't, I'm pretty sure. And that's why things are the way they are. So, folks, if you're just joining us, please do remember to go ahead and share these programs. Share this program on your Twitter, Tumblr, everywhere else. That is how we are going to make a difference. That is how we all make a difference on this, what do I call it, on this very long journey. Now we're going to start the program right now. As soon as I go ahead, I want to make sure that I can see see you guys up front, so bear with me 1 second as I get that together. Okay, so here we go. Title of the show today. Title of the show today is, "This is how we ensure the Kavanaugh loss does not hurt midterm." Okay? But the subtitle, many Americans, many for the very, very first time, activated themselves for this just cause. It seemed some Republicans would do the right thing. They really thought so. But I told you so. We all know that Flake was flaky. We all know Flake was just one of those guys who constantly worries about how things are and how we need to go ahead and try to be together. We need to get, no, it's not guys like Flakes that are trying to get America together. It's folks like Politics Done Right. We are trying to get real people together so that others don't take advantage of them as they are right now. So that's the truth. That is the truth. Rebecca LeBlanc. No, we're not getting lost in anger. Let me tell you what we're going to do, though. I'll talk about that. And welcome aboard, Michael Rudnan. Welcome aboard, Rebecca LeBlanc. Let's see who else. I have to figure out how to get some more seen on this page. But anyhow, folks, the subtitle is "Many Americans, many of the for the first time activated themselves for this just cause. It seems some Republicans would do the right thing. In the end, they reverted to form. Kavanaugh is the second misogynist on the Supreme Court. This is how we reinflate those who feel dejected. Before I continue, just saying, some people are going to say, wait a minute, it's hearsay. You are saying that you have another Supreme Court justice on the Supreme Court who is a misogynist. Yeah, I'm saying that absolutely. That part is not in debate, right? The part in debate may be, well, we are not very, very sure what happened with Dr. Ford. We may not be sure about that, but we are absolutely sure that there's another misogynist that was placed on the court. How do we know that? In his own words, in his own writings, in his own yearbook. Renate Alumnius. Renate Alumnius. Anybody that falls into that category. I was 17 once. I was 18 once. I was in college once. Never, ever, even in my most chauvinistic days, I'm from Central America, which means I came over here with that disease. In my most chauvinist days, I would have never treated women with that indignity. I would have never treated, and guess what else? A large percentage of men would not. Even the most sexist ones would not go to the level of misogyny that these guys have. So let's not try to make it look like, oh, boys will be boys. No, there are good guys out there. There has always been good guys out there. There has always been guys that don't partake of that sort of a discarding of women or treating women as they are subservient or of some nature. So let's be frank there. And so what we got was a misogynist on the court, and there is absolutely no two ways about it. There is absolutely no doubt about it. Therefore, women should not expect when rulings are made that they will be made. I mean, he says, oh, I'm going to hire all the women, all the people that are working for me are going to be women, as if that absolves him from what he has done or what it's in his psyche. Well, the slave master, he hired a whole lot of black folk. Did that make him good? So, folks, disregard what he has to say. Women, please take control. In 2018, I beg my sisters, all of my sisters, all my American sisters, please. Before I get into the program, there is something that I want to read, right? And I didn't pull it up, so I'm going to pull it up now from somebody that wrote this on because right now I want to go a little bit of demographically with voting right now, because this is something that I have to say, and I think we need to say it. We have to be frank about it. But this woman placed this statement on her site today, and I said, hey, can I go ahead and read that? And I hope I can get to it because it was an important piece. It's an important statement that she read. So I said, can I blog about it? And she said, of course. But remember, I put those words up, but those aren't necessarily my words. Let's see if I can get to those words from her. It looks like I should have tried to pull it up before because as it turns out, it looks like she may have pulled it down. It was a rather controversial post. Oh, no, here it is. Here it is. And I want to read this. And please take this in the context that I'm reading. And I'm going to come to the phone in a minute before I get to the show since somebody has called in already. I'm coming to you, but I just want to read what she wrote. This is a friend of mine, good friend of mine, middle-aged, white woman. And this is what she said. People who think that white women viewing the Kavanaugh fiasco will suddenly turn Democratic in November are fooling themselves. A lot of white women are perfectly happy with a white patriarchy as long as their livelihoods are secure. They don't care if poor women can't get abortions or birth control or health care as long as they themselves have the money to obtain those things themselves. This whole Kavanaugh appointment isn't about sex, it's about power. The power of race and the power of wealth. In short, the power of privilege. Republican white women will ally themselves with their class and their race. They've done it over and over. They did it in 2016 when faced with an obvious opportunity to rise above. They'll do it in November. We can't depend on any Republicans turning in November. We have to get off our duffs and outvote them. They aren't going to change, not the men, not the women. Now, to my friend, I understand exactly what she's saying. And, some would say, well, she has more rights to say that because, well, she's a white woman and she knows white women and all that kind of stuff. What I do say is I know humans, right? And there are, I like not to just look at how things are, but why things are. Okay? And the same pathology that makes these women do what they do is the same, in my opinion, in my calculated opinion, is the same pathology that have the few black folk who want to be Republicans, who vote for the things that hurt different classes of people. In other words, black folk, people of color, women, all these folks who have been aggrieved at some time in our system. It should be clear and absolutely clear to them. I will, Rudnan. It should be absolutely clear to them that anybody, any people, any group that does what they do is suspect and doesn't deserve a vote. So, I mean, the pathology, though, of crabs, the pathology of just not thinking things through, that's there. And my thing is not to just condemn people. You know, I remember the people who saved the Alabama senator were black women. They voted in the largest percentages for the guy to save us from having a pedophile as a senator from Alabama. But what else? But what do I tell to the white women who supported the pedophile, who also have kids, who should know better? It's the same pathology that had in the slavery days some slaves who gave up the guys who were trying to liberate slavery. Those guys who got those people caught. So I am less attacking of white women or of any folk that turn against what's right for humanity, what's right for Americans. And I take the compassionate, empathetic modal that says, how can I present things to make that change? In other words, as opposed to they're never going to change, that for me is a lazy option. For me, it is, what do I need to do to understand these folks so that I can get in there and change them? Is it hard to do? Hell yes. But if we really believe in humanity, if we really believe that there are things that have to be done, then we have to do this. I'm going to break protocol with the program because I have a caller on, and what I'm going to do... Wait, caller. I see there's a caller here. If you want to speak, you have to push the number 1 so that I don't just throw you on, because some people call just to listen. But if you want to speak, press the number 1, and I'll be more than happy to put you on air. But until I see that button that says oh, there you go. So you press the number 1. All right. Let me see. Who do I have the honor of speaking with?
Hi, this is Holly from North Carolina.
Holly, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, and thank you for being here, and thanks for your program. I just had a quick comment.
Yes.
You know, it's been a really trying week, and or a couple of weeks with the Kavanaugh thing, and I think that the most hurtful thing to me, you know, and I try not to get down about this, but I think this is true for a lot of women, at least a lot of my friends that I'm talking with, and I'm 56 years old and in a conservative state. I'm in the western part of the state near Asheville, which tends to be, you know,
liberal.
a little more on the liberal, a little more balanced. But I think the most horrifying part of it was the president fanning flames. You know, I think if the president had the sense to stay out of it, it still would have been a very problematic event. I'm not saying that everything's okay, but I think that part of what the president did is really sort of fanning the flames of, you know, everyone looking to the midterms. And I just want to encourage everybody out there, you know, even if you're in a conservative red state and you're deeply touched by what happened with this, you know, don't even wait. You don't even have to necessarily look for common groups to congregate in. If you do your research and find a way to canvass, you know, I'm going to go out and canvass next weekend just because I absolutely have to. And I'm going to get some doors slammed in my face, and that's okay. But, you know, I think really, if you feel that passionate about it, you need to translate that into action, and you need to canvass. You need to reach out to your candidate and do the research. I mean, don't endorse somebody just because they're a Democrat. I mean, just do your research, find your candidates, find someone who you can believe in, and, you know, get back up on the horse. And I think it's important now more than ever to just keep beating the drum.
I am so very happy for your call, because we need folks like you out there saying that to people who are currently very, very demoralized and just want to throw their hands up in the air. One of the fears that I had, and I'm going to discuss that when I get into the blog of the week and after I get further into the show, my biggest concern was how a lot of first-time activists, a lot of people that activated themselves for the first time because they were going for a just cause, how are they going to react after this occurrence? You see, I knew that this was going to be the outcome. I mean, because Republicans have proven all the time that it never matters what the people want. For them, it always matters what and I don't know if you've ever listened to our show before where we talk about the Powell Manifesto and how a lot of the things that are happening are pre-planned. But, and this is not conspiracy theory or anything like that. It's just something out there that's, this is what had to be done because of where the country is going. The country is becoming a very progressive country. A lot of people don't see it because there are a lot of red areas scattered throughout the country. But if you ask people for their values, it has turned out that most people are progressive. And when you get a progressive sect, they're going to ask the plutocracy, well, wait a minute, why is it that I'm not partaking of these spoils? Why it is that income disparity is growing as much as it is, even though we are the ones that are doing all the work? And people start to ask questions. The only way to mitigate law changes in the law, etc., is use the most powerful branch of the government, and that is the Supreme Court. That is why they want it so badly, because they can overturn Obamacare, they can overturn unions, they can overturn all these things that are there to protect the average American citizen. So what you are doing, what is your name again, ma'am?
Holly.
Holly, what you are doing, going out there and knocking doors is so very important. By the way, yesterday I went out and did some canvassing with Jackie Hazelwood and her team out here, which was great here in good red Texas. But we think we are going to get quite a bit of blue this time around, quite a bit of progressive. Anyway, anything else you'd like to add, Holly?
No, I just thank you for being here, and thank you for being a voice. And I just encourage everybody to vote in the midterms.
Thank you so kindly for calling. If I'll put you on hold. If you want to stick around, you can stick around there. Or you can go on Facebook Live and watch it. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you so kindly, Holly.
Bye-bye.
Anyhow, folks, let me tell you. Look. I'm so happy that Holly called in, because what Holly expressed is something that needs to be expressed. All those women that are feeling dejected for what happened, we still have recourse. I wrote a blog post at Daily Kos a few weeks ago where I said, don't forget, the Supreme Court may be powerful, but the combination of the legislature, meaning the Senate and the Congress, and then effectively when you get back the presidency in 20, you can defeat the purposeful right-wing nature of the Supreme Court. There are very many mechanisms within the Constitution to do so. So we never have to throw our hands up in the air and say, "Oh, it's all over." It's not. It can be over. The way it can be over, however, is if in 2018 we allow all those people to get reelected, if we allow the Congress to remain right-wing, if we allow the Senate to remain right-wing. Oh, it will get worse, because the laws will be passed and the Supreme Courts will affirm it. And we will then institute the beginnings of, well, we already have the beginnings of fascism. Check out what happened in Texas a few days ago. I blogged about that a few days ago. But anyhow, look, I sent out an email blast titled, Brett Kavanaugh is just the it said, Brett Kavanaugh is just the continuation, describing what occurred and what I thought were the paths to the solution. At the bottom of the email, I had a request asking those who are able to consider subscribing to Politics Done Right. I received a response from one of the women on my list that hurt to the core, as I could feel her pain. Look, she wrote, I have lost hope after this one. Women overnight have been turned into a mob by the likes of McConnell and Trump. Too many get their fix of hatred and misinformation daily on Fox. My hurt and anger cannot be put into words. Giving money has not helped. As a very empathetic person, I could feel her pain and visualize her angst. So I replied to her as follows. That is the goal of the plutocracy. They want to defeat us by breaking our spirit. We cannot and will not allow that to happen. I assure you, I will not. I gave up my successful software business to make a difference, and I will. My friend, this is not a 1 year or a 5-year project. It is a 10 to 15-year project that will improve things slowly. We will have backslides, but the progression is forward. I know you are hurting now. Rest assured, we will ultimately win. Mourn our current loss, but let's recover stronger. This is the fear I had with this occurring so close to the election. We do not know how many will react to the loss, but as Holly said, we can sure mitigate it. As Holly said, we can sure do something about it. Before I get to the blog of the week, let me go to the second call here. Caller from Skype, come on in.
Yes, my friend, Mr. Egberto.
My friend from
this is Mike.
Hong Kong, not Hong Kong.
Singapore.
Singapore. How you doing?
Singapore. Yes,
The
pretty
American
good.
in Singapore.
Beg your pardon?
I said the American in Singapore.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. And, my friend, this Kavanaugh really, it breaks the hearts of millions of Americans.
Yes, it did.
Because right now, if we win, there is a big chance, because those 50 senators that they vote for Kavanaugh, they will not be reelected. Majority of them, they are in election right now.
Right.
They will be out. And those 48 people who voted no, they will be win, and it's hopefully we will win. But the question is now, Kavanaugh the beer issue. I mean, it's like saying, well, everybody drinks beer here, there, and no, when he comes to House of Senate, he is drunk. He doesn't even answer the questions. He asked questions, same question back to them. He said, "Don't you drink
drunk.
beer?"
My friend, I don't think he was drunk. I think they gave him marching orders of how to act, and that's what he did. And Trump. Look, you can hate Trump, you can love Trump, but there's one thing Trump has been successful on, and that is a group. There is a particular group of people that navigate to a bullying type of personality like Trump, and unfortunately, it includes right. a substantial portion of women as well.
Yes, indeed, and I mean, at least he was high somehow, because he when he got mad. You remember he got mad when they asked him some other questions. He says, "This is the democratic coup against all." No, I don't say the coup. He said something else. But I mean, the meaning was that Hillary Clinton made a coup against me and Trump. Blah 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 blah. He was so angry as hell, and I don't know. This guy, he is not good for our Constitution of United States, and I don't approve of him.
Definitely not.
I tell you, all right, on the.
But let me put you on hold so I can get to the blog of the week, and then we'll have a little bit more discussion. So let's go there. But folks, by the way, the telephone number, this is a call-in show. Please remember to call us at 646-716-5812. Again, that number is 646-716-5812. Before I go to the blog of the week, I need to do my first quick pitch, and it's going to be quick this time. Anyhow, do remember, folks, that this is a progressive show that needs your support. And we have an interesting kind of a plug to try to get you in right now, and we're going to the blog of the week, but let me tell you this real quickly. And it goes as follows. Those of you who subscribe right now, or who subscribe, I'm writing my second book. My first book is Politics Done, rather, As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. You can get that at Amazon or anywhere else. And I tell you, if you really want to learn some stuff about why certain things doesn't work and how they screwed up the Affordable Care Act, etc., that's a good book for you to have. The second book that I'm writing right now is called How to Make America Utopia. How to Make America Utopia. And in that book, I'm writing it a chapter at a time. And for those who are subscribers to Politics Done Right, as I write those chapters, it's going online. The introduction is currently online for those subscribers can see it right now. And every chapter that I write, it'll be online immediately for the subscribers to see it. So please go to patreon.com, patreon.com/politicsdoneright. Again, that is patreon.com/politicsdoneright. Patreon.com/politicsdoneright. But I tell you, we also have a group that we're putting together. I'm looking for a couple more moderators for that group. Rudnin right here in the page with us right now. On the page with us right now, he's one of the moderators. I want to get a couple more moderators because what I want to do is as follows. I want folks to give suggestions as what they would like to see in the book as well. We have the table of contents, etc. But if you give suggestions that make it into the book, you will be cited with your permission, of course, in the book as well. And since the book is going to be sold all over, hey, that's a good opportunity for you to get a name for yourself as far as making an input to a book being cited in a book. And with that, do you know what time it is?
It's time for the weekly blog post.
Yes, it's time for the weekly blog post. The weekly blog post is titled, Why Losing the Kavanaugh Battle is Dangerous for the Midterm. And it goes as follows. Losing the Brett Kavanaugh confirmation battle is more dangerous than just the loss of the Supreme Court. We are at a tipping point and have no room for errors. We must be very careful between now and midterm 2018, and here is why. I was concerned from the beginning about the fight we were having over Brett Kavanaugh. I wrote the piece, Stop with the False Hope. Supreme Court loss for a generation lest we, And that's how I ended it, because I meant lest we, and I wanted everybody to fill in, lest we do this, lest we do that, etc. In July, I wrote that article in July 2018, making the point that it was false hope. I wrote the following: but this is where we find ourselves. The reality is that it is unlikely that anything can be done to stop Trump and the Republicans from installing anyone they so choose to place on the Supreme Court. Democrats do not have the numbers to stop anything. We can fire up progressives and hit the streets. We can pretend that pro-choice Republican senators will potentially vote against their party. We can raise a lot of money temporarily on the progressive side with this tale until the charade is over and Republicans ultimately install their corporate and ideological shill to the Supreme Court. But what then? We run the risk of demoralizing those to whom we have given false hope, those who believe that we have options we don't have. Isn't it time that we stop going through the same old playbook, the same old paradigm? Isn't it time that we speak to all isn't it time that we speak to all Americans as the intelligent people we are, even if at times ill-informed and governed by our fears? Yes, it is. Many are in despair because they finally understand that Trump's evil legacy will live on in the stacking of the courts with right-wing ideologues that could overturn women's rights, civil rights, and much more. Yes, we must encourage protest and continue the resistance. Progressive activists must lay the groundwork, the modus operandi, assuming Trump will get his desired Supreme Court justice. We have not lost yet. The Constitution does give us options. Read the entire article I have a link to the article, as there are, in fact, options. But most importantly, we must realize that the Republicans are building a constitutional anti-democratic firewall for minority rule of the American plutocracy. When we get that, we will see that it is not about what the average American wants, but what the titans of finance demand of their political slaves. I want to repeat that paragraph before because it is rather important. Most importantly, we must realize that the Republicans are building a constitutional anti-democratic firewall for minority rule of the American plutocracy. The minorities this time being the American plutocracy. When we get that, we will see that it is not about what the average American wants, but what the titans of finance demand of their political slaves. While protests are good to mobilize our people, it does little to sway the votes of the current crop we elected because they feel more indebted to their financial benefactors. And for that, we must fill the halls of Congress and the presidency with the least polluted. Going forward, let's be more honest as to what we can and cannot do. That way, we won't have to reinflate those who are extremely disappointed now, those who are deflated now, those who think, oh my God, it's all over. It is not, folks. We have a lot of work to do, and we will do it. This can actually be deflating to turn out as some cauterize in their minds that political engagement is pointless from this experience. And that is what we have to get to people. We have to let them know. You don't win every time. You cannot win every time. But right now, the American psyche is for progress. The one thing we cannot allow to happen, remember that letter I spoke about in the beginning of the show where this woman said, Egberto, I have lost hope. The plutocracy wants you to lose hope. When you've lost hope, you roll up in a ball and you just take it. Any person who has lost hope knows that. You've lost hope that something can happen, and you just start saying, well, doesn't matter. Life doesn't matter. So you just go through the strokes. You just go through life. It's never so, my dear brothers and sisters. We are the ones who define hope. We are the ones who effect or effectuate hope. Hope is just the beginning, and then we effect it. And that's who we are. That's what we must do. We can't now, if they slash hope away from you, if they make you believe that you cannot accomplish, that you cannot do, then they win. All my life, from back in Panama to here in the United States, the amount of roadblocks that's been placed from the time I came, from getting into the one of the better universities, the public universities, University of Texas, from going ahead and forming the different companies that I've formed. One problem after another. Many times the attempt to break one's hope. I tell you something, it's not easy. But if we stick together, if we are each other's brothers and sisters, whomever you are, then we don't have to hold on to hope alone, right? We can actually get this stuff done. They are intent on breaking your hope. Our folks are intent in reinflating that. Midterm 2018 must highlight what progressives will do. You want us to win? We have 29 days to do the following. So what now? All those people who we mobilized for the Kavanaugh fight must be given hope that midterm 2018 still matters. We have to remind them of all the issues a progressive win will ultimately start mitigating. Let's continue to remind folks of these 5 issues that we will support. Progressives must define their opponents first so that it is them who are on the defensive. Then tell poor and middle class America in a distinct, specific manner what is in it for them. It must be clear to them what they expect out of voting for progressives. We have to make that clear. We have 29 days to do it. When we're block walking, when we're calling folks on the phone, I know what I tell people. I meet people right through the day all of the times. Folks, listen to this. Democrats will finally fix health care. You know what? Everybody's complaining. They're finally realizing that by destroying Obamacare, by destroying the Affordable Care Act, it is also destroying the corporate healthcare system. The system that the companies used to buy healthcare for you is all one big system. And guess what is happening right now, my dear brothers and sisters? Check out the kind of insurance you're getting now. My wife earlier was telling me about a relative of hers who just got what their new insurance is going to be. The price went up by a bit, but they threw them into a lousy policy. That is what's going to happen to you, and that wasn't because of healthcare. That was, something implicit to healthcare. That was because of the ultimate destruction and what we call the bastardization of the Affordable Care Act. The sabotage of the Affordable Care Act is what is causing that. So, what are Democrats going to do for you? Pre-existing conditions will again be taken care of, because right now with that guy on the Supreme Court, he's saying, the way the law is written right now, pre-existing condition may be unconstitutional, forcing private companies to give oh my God, yes. All those people that are supporting Kavanaugh right now, read what he's all about, my dear friends. All you Republicans, my dear brothers and sister Republicans, you need the same health care we all need. We all are in the boat together. And if that boat sinks, so do you. So do you. So when you are supporting these people that don't have your interests at hand, guess what? It's you too. We're in the same boat. You know why I continue to love everybody? Because I realize that. I realize that we're the same boat. It is that small, tiny piece of people that are using you. But anyhow, so Democrats will fix. I'm going to change that to progressives. Progressives will fix the health care issue once and for all with a single payer Medicare for all system. Progressives will provide student loan relief. Progressives will provide need-based subsidized child care for anyone who wants to work. Progressives will decriminalize marijuana and treat drug use as the disease that it is. Progressives will make the criminal justice system live up to the justice is blind motto. Those 5 progressive values covers everybody. It covers racially, gender, absolutely every single thing. You get those 5 issues taken care of, absolutely environment, everything is taken care of. And that is how you sell it. Those 5 issues. Those 5 bullet points expressed in different terms will work in every district in America. It appeals to millennials, people of color, all working class people, parents, and every demographic in between. Most importantly, these bullet points afford Americans a path to self-sufficiency. It frees them from the aberrations of the economy that stunts innovation. Look, the inability to start one's business and the independence and the enslavement to the corporation. No longer enslaved to the corporation, folks. If we were to adopt these things and force it through, the reason we can't get it through is the pharmaceuticals and the drug companies and the oil companies and all. They can't take that this will happen. You know why? Because that is going to liberate people. They don't have to stay working for somebody because they have to have that inexpensive health care. They don't have to stay with a company that treats them like crap. They don't have to work for a company they believe is polluting the environment. They don't have to support a company just because they're scared. I have people in my town who are progressives, who everybody else believe they are conservative, and they confess to me, I'm a progressive. I believe everything you believe. But if I were ever to utter those words here, I will be out of a job. Is that a real democracy? Think about the peer pressure that folks are under just to continue to vote against your own interests. It's so darn amazing, my brothers and sisters. Anyhow, so let me repeat that last sentence that goes like this. It frees them from the aberrations in the economy that stunts innovation, the inability to start one business, and the dependency and the enslavement to the corporation. One would hope that every Democrat, every progressive who gets on Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC, HLN, or any other network would steer every single topic to those bullet points. In other words, sir, what do you think about Kavanaugh? I think we got our second misogynist on the Supreme Court, but we can't do anything about that right now. But what we can do something about right now is to tell Democrats what we're going to tell the American people what progressives are going to do for them. We are going to fix the healthcare system. We're going to give them student relief. We're going to provide subsidized healthcare for those people who want to work. We're going to decriminalize marijuana and help folks get the help that they need, those who are addicted to whatever drug. And we will make sure that justice system is colorblind and not only colorblind, gender blind, and everything to absolutely everybody. You have that down in your stump speech. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you have the expansion to that when people start asking you questions. Well, what is there in there for me? Well, I can show you what's in there for you. You remember that thing that you wanted to buy? You couldn't have it. Remember that? That is where we have to go. The establishment Democratic Party many times sheer away from that because, again, many of these issues, again, are in conflict with even some of their own donors. And that is why I've continued to say we need independent media. We need to have a system where real people can get to real people as opposed to filtered through a media who continuously only look out for the interests of the plutocracy. So let's reinflate all those who are disillusioned by the Kavanaugh outcome. We still have a lot of work to do. I am heading to a block walk tomorrow. As you see, I wrote this Saturday. I am heading to a block walk, which I did. I learned a lot from the people who highlighted or headlined the blog walk. I was so impressed with the amount of engaged people. If you are out there, if you have a couple hours to give, and I have to write up a blog about what we did yesterday, but I have to get my taxes done first. But if you have 29 days, look for whomever. If you're scared to just go out there and do it yourself, I tell you what. Even though for this season I did my first blog walk yesterday, but that's not really true because I've been block walking. I'm a steady state, always block walking political persona. In other words, I am constantly trying to talk to people and try to see where they are politically, try to engage them politically, and try to talk to them about what we need. And I think everybody. Right now, we're in a hurry. We have to get the people who don't vote and try to get them to vote and vote appropriately. But when the election is over, it's just beginning. Because let's say we have a big sweep. Let's say we have a huge sweep. The work has just begun because the money is going to start going to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. It's going to start going to all these other people. And some of these people have never seen money. Some of these people have never seen the kind of dining and whining that they're going to get. And they are all going to be susceptible to brainwash. They are all going to be susceptible to brainwash. So we, the people, and independent media has got to be there, especially when they get elected, because we are the only ones that are going to keep them in check. We are the ones that are going to make sure they do not go against their promises. And if they do, I have another website called faileddemocrats.com. I have to get the other one that's going to have some permutation of that for Republicans. I don't know what phrase I'm going to use for that. And the reason why these people get away with what they get away with is that nobody calls them out appropriately, that is. And that's what in Midterm media. I'm coming back to the phones in a minute, but I want to do my second ask here and say, folks, like I said, we do have to have independent media. Please go ahead and consider giving at patreon.com/politicsdoneright. That's patreon.com/politicsdoneright. Why? Because we need to have independent media out there telling these stories. I don't only sit in front of this camera doing this show every day. We also go on the road. In fact, I'll be in Washington, D.C. next week. I'll be doing some of these videos from Washington, D.C., where we have the Bridge Alliance, where we are bringing a whole lot of groups together who are trying to bring Americans together. Because we understand. I am actually a board member of Coffee Party USA, and you want to support coffeepartyusa.com as well, coffeepartyusa.com. Why? These independent organizations are the ones that are really working towards bringing the people together so that we can really form a force to get what's done for Americans. Because all the big guys, there's nothing, I love Rachel Maddow, I love all of those, but they're all constrained by the people who advertise on their networks. Ultimately, they're all constrained. I am sure Rachel Maddow would like to say a lot more than she says. I am sure all of them would love to say a lot more than they're saying, but they can't because their allegiance is to the people who advertise on their network. Our allegiance is to you. This is your show. You call the shots. Even the new book I'm writing, for all practical purposes, I want to have you involved in there as well. You can we have a group associated with this book. Please become a subscriber. Becoming a subscriber of Politics Done Right, you're also get all our chapters as we write the chapters. So please go ahead again. Go to patreon.com/politics done right. Folks, we have a lot of work to do. We have a whole lot of work to do. But you know what? We can get it done. We can get it done. I was so high yesterday after the block walk. I was so high. We spoke. It's funny. We were walking to a particular car, and this guy said, and it's like, I don't really have to talk to you, but I'm going to talk to you. Oh, we can't have this guy. That guy Cruz, I tell you, he's so terrible. And I mean, we just walked up to the car where we were canvassing this guy, and he already knew what he was doing. He already knew that everybody in his family was going to vote. I mean, it was wonderful. Now, we had a lot of doors because we did it on Sunday, people at church, but they're going to be doing this all weekend, every weekend, and some during the week as well. You can, and you don't have to wait to be with people. You can canvass right there on your job. You can look at somebody where you don't get in trouble. Of course, and if you're in Texas, some places, if you go ahead and start talking politics, it creates an argument, then you don't want to do that. That's what I'm asking you to do at all. What I'm asking you to do, though, folks, wherever you are, if you're in the job, if you're in the supermarket, if you're in the barber shop, if you're at the store, if you're at Starbucks, if you're at Pete's, wherever you are, you be the bastion of progressivity or progressiveness, right? You be out there and you be ready to tell folks what following this modal is going to do for them. Why is it good for them? What is in it for them? Always. What is in it for them? What is in it for us? We can do it, man. We can do it. And don't let that new bravado that the Republicans have, that is a tactic. It worked against Al Gore. You remember they looked at Al Gore and said, well, we really want him to do this. We really want him to bring Bill Clinton into the game. At that time, Bill Clinton's popularity was high. If Bill Clinton had gone to certain states, to Florida and all the states, and campaigned for Gore, we wouldn't have been in this fiasco. Well, we still would have, because they're still neoliberals, but just not as bad as the right. But we wouldn't be in the state that we're in right now at all. Okay? So, and the Republicans are trying to do it again now. They're trying to get all progressives all scared and, is it really worth it? Look, we worked so hard for Kavanaugh and lost. It's probably pointless for us to go work for this darn midterm because we're probably going to lose again. That is the mentality they want. They think that they pumped up their base by winning Kavanaugh. And they want to depress your base, our base, by saying, if we lost Kavanaugh, we're probably going to lose this one too. No, because our base, number one, is larger. And number two, there are many of them in their base that, given enough notion, will actually close their eyes and come and get an epiphany in that booth and said, you know what, for once, I can't tell my husband, I can't tell my wife, I can't tell my friends who I'm voting for, but I really need to vote my interest, and I hope other people do it, and I'm doing it now. Cha-ching, progressive. I have faith that that's going to happen it's calculated faith, based on some of the folks that I've been speaking to. Let me get to the caller. Caller, you're on the air.
Yes, my friend.
Yes,
I'm right now, due to automation. For example, Korea has 4.78 robots per 100 workers.
Right.
Japan has 3.14 robots per 100 workers. Germany, 2.92 robots per 100 workers. United States has 1.64 robots per 100 workers, and global average is about 1. So, the developing world is most at risk. Ethiopia, 88% of jobs will be at risk.
Right.
Nepal, 80%. China, 77% of jobs would be lost. El Salvador, 75%. India, 69%. Global average is about 60% of the jobs would be lost. Let's look at Fresno, California. 53.8% of jobs by the year 2025. Las Vegas, Nevada, 49.1%. Los Angeles, 47%. Houston, 45.9%.
I get the point. Let me go ahead. I get the point. Let me just say this, caller. This is important what I say. Those numbers don't really scare me at all, right? They don't scare me at all. What scares me is the lack of policy. And let me explain what I mean by the lack of policy. What scares me most is that what we have not done as a country, as a world, is realize that automation is not a bad thing. Robots are not a bad thing. Let's do it. Let's have it one robot per one worker. I don't care, because here's what happens then. Policy can actually say, if we are becoming a robotic country, a country that where the robots do most of the world, it means it doesn't mean that there are a whole lot of unemployed people. What it means is there's a hell of a lot of people who have a hell of a lot more leisure time. And if we write policy correctly, then what we are talking about is humans not having to bust their butts all day, but humans being able to do the things that they want to do. So robots are only a bad thing if and only if there is bad policy. So we shouldn't be stunting robots. We should be making better policy. Follow?
Yes, the basic of universal basic income is fixed income at a level sufficient for subsistence. I mean, for living.
Right.
Yeah, for living. Given by the state to all citizens, regardless of income or work status.
Right.
And they have already tested in different countries like Switzerland.
And Norway.
Now each one get 2,000. Yeah, Norway in that area, 2,500 every month, regarding whether you get Social Security, whether you got other incomes you have, whether you got, they automatically get it. Yeah, I know in Africa, Sahara, they did that, and they give $1,000 a year to the people, and suddenly people came out of poverty very fast.
I gotta go to the to answer some questions now on the Facebook page, my friend. So let me go ahead and do that. But what you're saying is a very important concept. One of these days we'll have a show on that.
Yes.
As far with robots, because the truth of the matter is I'm not against robots. I want a hell of a lot of robots. I just want policy that makes sure that humans come first and that humans can survive. Anyway, thank you so kindly, my friend. Let me go ahead and answer. Let's see. Let me get to some of these folks.
Sure.
Activating this election cycle, all right, but no one's. I hope to reach most right now are conservative women. Exactly. Getting lost in anger isn't going to help. You're absolutely right, Rebecca LeBlanc. Michael Rudnin, protests against the worst. Conservatives aren't being paid. I know that's a lie that's going on. Daniel Lado, nobody questions that Egberto is a fascist. Oh wow, that's amazing. Michael Rudnin, Egberto, can you post a link to what article you're talking about? I'll about Kavanaugh, not about sex, but about power. Yes, I will. I'll try to find. I'll get that article. Actually, the article is in the. I think it's in my. Look in the blog post, but I'll check it out. Hi, Michael Dean Newton. Michael, let's see. Doug Jones, Roy Moore. That election was insane. So many conservatives were okay with your candidate being a pedophile. That is amazing. Jay Ramon, welcome aboard. Michael Rudnin, Holly, that whole research thing. Next time, do that during the Democratic primary when we exactly. Jay Ramon, great job, Holly. Thank you very much, Holly, for the call as well. Rebecca LeBlanc, thanks you as well. Power begets power. That's all. That's absolutely correct. Hope Bleeker, great show. Thanks for caring and thanks for your insight. I appreciate it. Hope Michael Rudnin, the group's being discussed. Jay Ramon, can't click on the link, Michael. Michael will fix that for you, I'm sure. Jay Ramon, amen. Unity is the key to work for us. We have to be united. Crap insurance plans not worth the paper they're printed on. Absolutely sure. PNHP.org. Please see that site. I visit there frequently. Jay Ramon, they lose money. Yes, they do. Tom Hines, I know of people in this little town of Shelby, Kentucky, who have changed parties because they knew they would never get elected as Democrats. I know of quite a few people here who've confessed that to me, believe it or not, Tom Hines, and they knew that I would absolutely never tell other folks they've told me that. Rebecca LeBlanc, that's such a good point, absolutely. That's what Rudnin said, Rebecca said about that point. Okay, and Jay Ramon, that's a lot of jobs lost. Actually, that's true, Ramon, but again, or rather, I think it's Jay. That's true, but the thing about it is, people look at having a whole lot of robots as people losing jobs. I look at having robots as people having a lot of leisure time, which means the robots would increase productivity because there are less people who have to go do the work, while the robots can work on and on and on and on again. And as the robots continue to work on and on and on and on again, we just have to have a system, a policy that prevents those who finally are the owners of the robot, if you will. Of course, we know that the knowledge for building that robot is composite. So I don't feel like saying, hey, we're going to tax the whole hell out of the robots because, again, you don't have to buy the robot, healthcare, all that good stuff. And why? Those people who build the robots and buy the robots, they may feel that we purchased those robots with our own income. Yeah, true. But the knowledge base for that robot, the knowledge base for the creation of that robot spanned decades, if not centuries, that were funded by Americans over and over again. And for one set of plutocrats to be able to take care of the spoils in the society that I believe in the utopia that I'm talking about, which is not rather utopia, it's just a fair society, that would never absolutely happen. Again, it's human beings first. Please, folks, go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright. Again, that is patreon.com/politicsdoneright, and subscribe to our show. We can only do what you allow us to do, and we are only indebted to you. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you know how I end this? I am out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.